I've spent almost 2,000 hours on Disney World transportation in the last 5 years. That's 81 full days on buses, boats, Skyliner gondolas, monorails, and more. But today, I'm putting the entire system to the test. A lot of people complain about Disney World buses, but commuting to Disney World almost every single day for the last 5 years, I've really grown to appreciate them and trust their reliability as a fast and easy way to get around. When you're in Epcot and trying to get to Hollywood Studios, you've got a lot of options. You can walk, you can take the Skyliner, you can ride the friendship boats, and yeah, all of those are really nice, but they come with a lot of complications. The Skyliner requires a transfer at Caribbean Beach Resort and a walk to the back of the park, and the boats make multiple stops and take their time. But if you're already near the main entrance of Epcot like I am right now, there's a move most people don't realize exists. Take the bus that nobody knows about. Yes, if you're at the front of the park, there's a bus that goes directly from Epcot to Hollywood Studios, and it's super fast and easy. We're gonna take it now and time the whole experience. As we pass it, we'll say hello to the monorail station. This is important to know about because it's literally directly facing opposite the actual entrance to Epcot. But if you keep walking over here, facing the front of the park to the right, there's an exit that goes straight to the bus section. This is important if you are leaving at the end of the night and need to take a bus back to your resort, or if you're in the front of the park and you don't want to walk all the way back to International Gateway in order to take the Skyliner, which requires that transfer, the boats, which make a lot of stops, or that walk that frankly, some of us don't feel like making in addition to all the walking we do in the parks. And right this way, we're almost there. We're moving right along footloose and fancy free, just like the Muppet said in the Muppet movie. Also want to point out something we'll be talking about later. This is the minivan pickup, very convenient here, right in the front of the bus depot at Epcot. The other thing I want to point out is the bus transportation guide. And you know, the thing is, even if I think I know where I'm going, I still like to stop and make sure. Number 11, Disney's Hollywood Studios. Do you see how interesting this is? Magic Kingdom is not offered because of the reliability and convenience of the monorail that goes directly to the transportation and ticket center with an easy transfer to the express monorail to Magic Kingdom. So they're not going to offer a bus unless the monorail is down. Then you will see a bus pop up. Animal Kingdom is offered. It's the only form of transportation there. But even though you have such a diverse array, you have sort of you're spoilt for choice, as they say in the UK. When it comes to transportation to Hollywood Studios, you still get this bus if you're leaving from the front of the park. And this is my favorite way to get from Epcot to Hollywood Studios. Even with all of that novel transportation you get otherwise. I love boats, I love the Skyliner, but sometimes you just want to get where you're going. And today, that's what we're doing. I started the stopwatch so we can see how long it's going to take now that we've arrived at the bus depot. We're being sent ahead here to get to number 11. Not the most convenient stop in the depot, but also not the farthest. And it looks like, oh, it's just taking off. Well, that would have been a little too convenient, I guess. I didn't want to show you an unrealistic experience, but sadly, we're not going to walk on today. Actually, interestingly, there's a Disney Transport van waiting at number 11. Could this be? That van has cast members in it. Folks, friends, don't go getting on vans that you don't know. Don't walk up to strangers in vans either. Even in Disney World, it's a bad idea. You just get in lane number 11 and you wait for your bus to Hollywood Studios just like everyone else. Oh, well, the Wells Fargo wagon is should I do it like, what was his name, Winthrop? Oh, well, the Wells Fargo wagon is coming down the track, oh, for me. It could be something for someone who is no relation, but it could be something special just for me. Hollywood Studios bus. This is it. The Wells Fargo wagon has arrived. That's another thing. You don't get air conditioning really on the boat. Not at all on the Skyliner, and not at all when you're walking. So if you want to have a nice seat, look, I'm all by myself because nobody knows this bus exists. And the air conditioning is epically good. All right, we made it to Hollywood Studios. The wind is kicked up and our driver said stay dry, so I think he knows something. We're gonna need this reliable, quick transportation more than ever now, because we all know what it feels like to have to get around in Disney World in the pouring rain. We made it to Hollywood Studios in exactly 25 minutes from the time that we stepped foot into the bus depot. Remember, we saw that first bus pulling out. We ended up having to wait 15 minutes. That isn't always going to be your experience, but that was our experience today. And now it's time for Disney World's newest and wildest form of transportation, the Skyliner. It opened in 2019, and let's just say it had a rough start. On the second day of operation, 2 gondolas collided near the Riviera station. No one was seriously hurt, but some guests were stuck hanging in the air for up to 3 hours before emergency crews brought them down. It made a lot of people nervous, including me, but the issues were fixed fast, and there hasn't been another major incident since 2021. Today, the Skyliner is smooth, fast, and surprisingly efficient, especially when you're traveling between Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and the 4 resorts it services: Caribbean Beach Resort, Riviera Resort, Pop Century, and Art of Animation. Today, we're riding from Hollywood Studios to Caribbean Beach Resort, which is the central hub of the Skyliner system. We're going straight to the heart, to the nerve cluster. We're going to the middle of the action over there at Caribbean Beach Resort, because that's where you gotta go if you wanna go a lot of places. The Skyliner won't stop for the rain, but it will stop for lightning, usually if it's within 10 or 15 miles. So if it's running, that means there's no lightning detected, even if it's visibly and we can feel the rain. The wetness, it's damp. Now, the gondolas don't stop, and that's part of the genius of them, but you might have to get over yourself mentally and step over that threshold, even though you know the gondola's moving. What's extra cool about this particular system is that it was the first in the world to offer this technology where accessible gondolas could be added to the loop without stopping. So somehow they were able to be paced by a computer and introduce a gondola, an accessible gondola, to the rest of the fleet without ever stopping. Since then, it's been added to other gondola systems around the world, but this was the first. It's starting to rain pretty hard. It's a little eerie being in a gondola by yourself in the rain. I'm not saying I'm scared, I'm just saying, you know, it's not the most ideal situation. All right, we've made it off of our initial leg of Skyliner travel. I'm just gonna walk around. This is the Caribbean Beach Resort station. So right over here, if you were to enter straight ahead, this would take you to the Riviera Resort and to Epcot. The Riviera Resort isn't really a full stop. It's more of a roundabout, and you can, well, none of them are a full stop, but it's sort of I guess it's the same as everything, but it's such a little station. It just feels like a moment in time. If you wanted to go back to Hollywood Studios, this would be your spot. If you wanted to leave the station and go to the resort, Caribbean Beach Resort, I'm interchanging the pronunciations here, but you would want to go that way. We're gonna go over to the Hourglass Lake station, which services Art of Animation and Pop Century, and go check out what's happening over there. Let's see what kind of fun things we can experience. This is actually an accessible gondola being introduced right before our eyes. So if you want to have that experience of seeing that right there. How cool to be able to see the accessible cabin being added. The cast member who loaded us in today told me that that happens about every 10 cabins. that an accessible is added. So there's a rhythm to it, I guess, the way they're paced. Maybe there's a space that is left open, and I just think it's ingenious and super cool. The one that we're in now is wrapped, meaning it has an image that you can see from the outside, but on the inside, you can kind of see through it. It has little holes. But the one that we had on the way over was not wrapped. We had full view, although it was raining, so the raindrops were obscuring a lot of it. But still interesting to note, you may get one that's wrapped, you may get one that is totally see-through.
Bon voyage!
All in all, it took us about 12 minutes from the time we entered the station in Hollywood Studios to now when we're arriving at the Hourglass Lake station, which is servicing Pop Century and Art of Animation. It's a quick ride, but it gives you some of the best views in any of the forms of transportation, and it checks off another unique Disney transportation line for you to try. I remember for a long time, it was very popular in the Disney Parks fandom to say more theming in the resorts, more theming in the resorts. And then they did it. They gave a tremendous amount of theming here at Art of Animation. The rooms, there's nothing that's not themed in them, just about. So maybe the coffee maker, but it is so themed that now I think it's turned and people are wanting more subtle nods to Disney IP and Pixar. But you know what? I like it all. I think it's fun to be here. I think it's fun to stay at the new rooms in Grand Floridian that have the little nods to Mary Poppins and Alice in Wonderland. And I think that the Moana rooms are cool and the Incredibles rooms. Any little touch is cool. But when you stay here, you're immersed. You're in the animation. And some people don't really want that. But I am fine with either way. You'll never believe the form of transportation we're taking next. Can you guess? Can you guess what it is based on where we're going? It's okay. You have a minute here. We've got to walk all the way across the lobby to get outside. There's a little bit of a hint in the distance there. You can actually see it. Yes, you got it now? Yeah, it's locked in. Okay, great. We're going back to the bus, that's right. All right, we exited the bus at 12:45 and we arrived at the Hourglass Lake station off of the Skyliner at 12:25. So door to door, that was 20 minutes. That is nothing. And we always have this perception. Of course, I got there and the bus was waiting for me. I saved some time or got back some time that I lost waiting 15 minutes for the bus from Epcot to Hollywood Studios. You win some, you lose some. In the end, yes, there are some days when everything goes wrong and you have to wait 15 minutes for everything, but there are other days when it's not like that. I do my best to make like Elsa and let it go as much as possible, like I have to do with the fact that we're about to walk in the rain. Let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go. Remember, my rain gear is denial. Let it go, let it go. It's okay, it feels nice. It feels very cool and moist, which is a word that a lot of people don't want you to use. But I'm a rebel, and I'm arriving at Magic Kingdom. And that means we get to talk about the monorail. Part transportation, part legend. Walt Disney World's monorail opened in 1971 with the rest of the resort, but it was actually based on the Disneyland version that launched way back in 1959. That original system in California was designed by Bob Gurr, legendary Imagineer who built pretty much every ride vehicle in Disneyland. Walt asked him to build a futuristic monorail, and even though Gurr had never built one before, he pulled it off. That's the version Richard Nixon, when he was vice president, famously rode with his family, and that's the version that caught fire more than once before they got it stabilized. It's funny, the Richard Nixon story, because they actually accidentally got away from the Secret Service because his family wanted to ride it a second time. So the Secret Service got off the first car And Nixon and his family were riding up in the front car in the driver's section, which is now off limits. And they went a second time, and the Secret Service got off, and it caused quite a controversy, but it was okay in the end. And Bob Gurr was actually driving it. That man's a legend. Walt Disney never saw the Florida monorail. He died in 1966, 5 years before Magic Kingdom opened. The system at Disney World was built after his death by Martin Marietta, using a lot of the original Disneyland design language, but scaled up to handle resort transportation. The Express line connects Magic Kingdom and the TTC directly, and the resort monorail goes to the Polynesian Village Resort, the Grand Floridian, the Contemporary Resort, the TTC, and Magic Kingdom. And then when Epcot opened in 1982, they opened a new line that ran directly between TTC and Epcot. Bye, Teal. There were big plans to expand the monorail line further, to add Animal Kingdom, Disney MGM Studios, even to the airport, but they all got scrapped for being too expensive. Disney realized buses were cheaper, easier to scale, and didn't require the massive infrastructure investment that the monorail did. So what you see now is what we've had for decades. But I think it's beautiful and I love it. So no complaints for me. It would be cool if we could go to and from the airport. That would be pretty righteous, as people said in the 80s. But we don't have that ability, and that's okay too, because buses are nice. Monorail orange, that's cool. It's kind of the Halloween monorail. To door, that took us about 17 minutes. I didn't count the time I stood in front of Magic Kingdom and talked about the monorail. Cut that out. So about 17 minutes we experienced today, and we really didn't wait long for that monorail. And if you hadn't noticed, we've made our way now to the Polynesian Village Resort, right off that resort monorail loop. But we're not staying here long. No, we've got places to go, things to see, transportation to experience. And yes, that's why we're already walking out the front door, because we're on to our next form of transportation. And this is, again, when we play the guessing game. Can you guess what form of transportation is next? Is it going to be a bell cart? Is that what you call it? A luggage cart? No, we're not riding a luggage cart. No, that's not an option, unfortunately. Not an official one anyway. No, we're walking over here to this hut because we are going to take, you'll never believe it, a Disney World bus. Yes, another one. And the reason we're coming to a resort to pick up another bus is because this time we're headed to Disney Springs. Get ready. It's happy hour somewhere. I know you've got some shopping to do. Zara has a sale. You know you've got to go to Mac and get a lip liner because you dropped yours at the security at the airport. It was horrible. You couldn't find it anywhere. I'm sorry for you. You love that mahogany lip liner by MAC. It's a little dark for summer, to be honest. You should probably go a little lighter liner. So unlike the park buses, the buses to Disney Springs don't run first thing in the morning. Service to Disney Springs usually starts around 9 or 10 a.m. and goes until about 1 a.m. or 1 hour after Disney Springs closes, whichever comes first. And here's something a little bit weird. There are no buses from Disney Springs to the theme parks, only to the resorts. So there's no parking at Disney Springs and then taking a free bus to one of the theme parks. That's why they stopped offering it, because people were definitely doing that. And now we can't have nice things As usual, every Disney resort, no matter what the tier, has direct bus service to all 4 theme parks: Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. They also run to Typhoon Lagoon, Blizzard Beach, and Disney Springs, which is where we're going. And if you're at a larger resort like Fort Wilderness, Caribbean Beach, Old Key West, Saratoga Springs, or Coronado Springs, there's a full internal bus loop that connects different stops across the resort. That, of course, will take a little bit longer, especially when everyone is going to the parks in the morning and everyone is trying to come home at night. So just be prepared for that if you're staying at one of those resorts. Buses start running about 45 minutes before official park open, even earlier if there's early entry. So keep an eye on whether or not that's being offered with your resort stay. And then after park close, they keep running for a full hour, including during extended evening hours. Buses to Disney Springs, like the one we're about to take, usually start between 9 and 10 a.m. and run until about 1 a.m. or an hour after Disney Springs closes. Park-to-park buses begin around 10 a.m. and run continuously. So if you're hopping between Animal Kingdom and Epcot, or skipping the long walk between Epcot and Studios, just like we did this morning, this is how you do it. Now, here's something that a lot of people never talk about. If you're at the Transportation and Ticket Center and trying to get to Magic Kingdom, look to the far right hand of the lot. If it's a major crowd day or the monorail or ferry is down, Disney quietly runs buses straight to Magic Kingdom's gate. They don't advertise it, but when they're running, this is absolutely the fastest way to get there. So every time I get to the TTC in the morning, I always look to the right to see if they're running those buses. It is so fast. It's like 5 minutes. You can't believe how quick it is. And there's hardly ever a wait for it because everybody wants to get on the ferry or the monorail. And on that note, here is our Disney Springs bus right now. Thank you, bus. Hello, Disney Springs. All right, so from the time we got off the monorail at the Polynesian Village Resort to the time we arrived here by bus at Disney Springs, total time was 41 minutes. We didn't stop. I didn't do anything at Polynesian Village Resort. That's just how long it took to transfer to the other form of transportation, the bus, wait for the bus, wait for the bus to go to Disney's Grand Floridian Resort after Polynesian Village, and then get us to Disney Springs. But now we're here and it's beautiful. The sun's coming out and we're headed to our next form of transportation. Can you guess what it is? Here's a hint. This time it's not the bus. All right, we've done buses, we've done monorails, we've done gondolas, but now it's time to hit the water. Disney World has an entire fleet of boats, and they're not just looking pretty out there on the water, although they do look lovely and scenic. All of them have their own signature style, their own identity, and I have to say, I love them, but probably not as much as Quincy does. Quincy is the boat queen. I am but an admirer. But anyway, we're here now at the Sasagula Steamboat Company dock, ready to board a boat to what I believe is the most iconic destination out of the 4 offered. Here we can see on this side, you can go to Disney's Saratoga Springs Resort or Disney's Old Key West. Both of those are lovely destinations, but over here, you can go to Disney's French Quarter direct or Disney's Port Orleans Riverside Resort. We're gonna go to French Quarter today because to me, this is the ultimate way to enjoy the Sasagula River boat experience. Some Disney boats are free, some are expensive, and some are among the best kept secrets on property, like this one right here. All right, let's break it down. First up, resort launch boats. These run between Magic Kingdom and the nearby resorts. Grand Floridian, Polynesian Village, Wilderness Lodge, and Fort Wilderness. There's also a massive ferry boat that goes back and forth between Magic Kingdom and the Transportation and Ticket Center. They're all free. They don't require a park ticket, and they're a great way to avoid monorail crowds, especially after the fireworks. They're also a really fun form of transportation and something that you could do to entertain your family when you don't have a park ticket. Then there are the friendship boats in the Epcot resort area. They connect Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Boardwalk, Yacht and Beach Club, and the Swan and Dolphin. They're on the slow side, but they save you from a long, hot walk, and they're also free. There's also a friendship boat that runs from Canada to Morocco, right there in World Showcase in the middle of Epcot, driving over World Showcase Lagoon. But not all boats are free. If you want a more private experience, you can actually book a fireworks cruise on a pontoon boat for up to 10 people. Right now that starts at $449 plus tax, whether you're doing Magic Kingdom or Epcot, it's available for both. You get soft drinks, snacks, a captain, and a direct view of the show without the crowd. Divide that by 10 and it might be the most relaxing way to watch the fireworks on property. Disney also offers guided fishing excursions, launching from spots like Fort Wilderness, Caribbean Beach, and Polynesian Village. You can do a 2-hour trip for $270 or 4 hours for $455, gear included. And if that's not your style, you can just fish off the dock at Port Orleans Riverside for $13.32 for 30 minutes, or off the dock at Fort Wilderness, which offers a similar setup for about $8 for 30 minutes plus bait. In the mood to captain your own boat, you can rent a Sea Racer, which is basically a small personal watercraft, starting at $32 for 30 minutes, or go bigger with a 10-seat pontoon for $45 a half hour, available at marinas like the Contemporary, Grand Floridian, and Wilderness Lodge. Don't forget the Amphicar at Disney Springs, those vintage convertibles that drive straight into the water. They're not cheap. $125 per car for a 20-minute guided tour, and it fits up to 4 people. You're not driving, there's a captain, but it's definitely a vibe. I love taking this boat to Port Orleans French Quarter because I think it's the most in-theme location to take it to, and they're playing this like really awesome old school music, and the vibe is so peaceful. It gets you in the mood for eating beignets. Yes, of course, we're taking the boat so that we can get to an actual attraction, which is the delicious beignets that are served here at Port Orleans French Quarter. This is something I like to do with friends and family who don't have a park ticket. They're in town, they want to do something fun, something Disney, and I love that it doesn't cost us a lot of money, but really immerses them in the magic of Disney, even just for a couple hours. And that took us 28 minutes from the time we got in line for the boat to the time we arrived at the dock in Port Orleans French Quarter. But we're not getting beignets today. No, we're continuing on in our transportation journey through Walt Disney World, and it's our final stop. Can you guess what it is? No, it's not the bus again. You can get the buses out here over there. Friends, we're taking a rideshare. And most people use either Lyft or Uber, which work the same way they do anywhere else. You put in your destination and a car shows up. But you've got to know the Disney specific rules. If you're trying to get to Magic Kingdom, you're not getting dropped off at the gate. You're getting dropped off at the Transportation and Ticket Center, which means another ride on the monorail or ferry, or if you're lucky, bus, just to get into the park. Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom are a lot more direct. The drop zones are usually well marked and efficient, relatively close to the gate. If you're feeling luxurious and have that extra money to spend, there are the minivans, which you can book through the Lyft app, but they're operated by Disney cast members and maintained by Lyft, not random people driving their own cars. They're decked out in red polka dots. They come with 2 car seats already installed, and they can handle wheelchairs and mobility devices with a full lift system that lets you stay in your chair. They drop you right at the front of the parks, even Magic Kingdom. They cost a lot more, anywhere from $35 to $70 depending on the route. But if you've got kids, accessibility needs, or just want to avoid the hassle, they're a good option. They also run early and late from around 6:30 in the morning to 12:30 at night. And you can also grab a traditional cab. Taxi service is available at every park and resort, and for some people it feels more comfortable than messing with an app. Prices vary, but a taxi from MCO to Disney property will usually run around $40, maybe a little more. There are also van-style cabs for larger groups. And if you're looking for something even more private, black car service is available too. Think sedans, SUVs, or Sprinter vans, usually pre-booked for airport transfers or large group travel. A basic sedan or SUV might run you $150 each way from the airport, and the premium vans are more like $250 to $300 round trip. You can find these online or through travel planners, and some offer meet and greet service at baggage claim. But here's how I make sure I'm getting the absolute best value for my rides every single time. I type in the exact same destination in both Lyft and Uber and compare the prices. It's not uncommon to see that one of them is $10 cheaper for the exact same ride. It takes 2 seconds to fill in the address. It's absolutely worth it to have both apps downloaded with active accounts and to take the time to check both prices. And that is exactly what I'm gonna do right now. Let's see how much it's gonna cost me to get home from Port Orleans French Quarter. Well, Uber offered me a ride for $7 and change, but ended up giving me a wait time of 8 minutes. Less than $1 more, Lyft was offering to pick me up right away, under 2 minutes. So I decided, even though I had booked Uber for a second, if you cancel early enough, under 2 minutes, they don't charge you a cancellation fee. If you are doing just the regular service on Lyft, if you're using Wait and Save, they will charge you even if you cancel immediately. So I tend to err on the side of not going with Wait and Save unless everything's super expensive and I know I'm definitely not gonna cancel. The difference in price between the apps right now was so insignificant that my motivation for choosing one over the other was wait time, and I'm already getting the notification. My driver is here, and literally I just ordered it. So this is awesome. This is the game I play every single day leaving Disney World. Well, I made it home, and if you made it to the end, go ahead and drop this password in the comments below, and while you're down there, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. And why not turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know when myself or one of my friends comes out with a new video. See you next time.